over the last 100 years. So now's our chance to make a change. We don't have all the solutions yet, but we do have a lot of them. Ixagen Alliance is an alliance of companies that provide consulting services around environment, health and safety, sustainability, ESG, and that's how we ended up with 78 companies all over the world. In COP26, the conference in Glasgow, where all of us came together to really commit to that future that we're all looking for, we saw that as consultants, we are part of that solution. So actually some very clever people about 20 years ago realized that it was very expensive and complicated to open up offices in all the countries or locations where their clients had operations. And so they thought, hey, if we can find other consultants that are like us, we wouldn't have to do that. 20 years ago, that's how the Alliance was born, as they started creating alliances with other companies that had similar values, similar services throughout the world. And that's how we ended up with 78 companies today. So they might say, Angie, I need your help. And I would go to my colleagues around the world that are part of the Alliance and create a global team. Even though they all work for different companies, I'm going to create a team that acts like one company. And the great thing about that is not only is that a global perspective, but then we have people who are local. So if they have operations in Greece, my Greek colleague is the one who's really going to help in Greece really understand what they need on the ground at that local level. One of the examples of services that we would work with a client on would be assessing the vulnerability of a watershed. So you're using water in your manufacturing site, but do you really know the quality and the potential impact that water is having on the community itself? And globally, as we look at water scarcity, that becomes a bigger and bigger issue.
Water is a shared resource that really doesn't belong to anyone, but that we all use. So we must have a synergic, collaborative, and transparent approach when managing it. We have been supporting Ixagen Alliance in conducting source vulnerability assessment for a large multinational retailer that operates in the cosmetic industry. By conducting a multi-site source vulnerability assessment in all of the client's operational sites, which included manufacturing facilities and R&Ds. Source vulnerability assessments are local water-related investigations that have the aim of assessing water availability, identifying potential liabilities, and mitigating water-related risks in order to ensure long-term water availability in the entire territory of interest. So our client went beyond water management and incorporated water stewardship practices in its water protection plan in order to not only reduce and reach ambitious water reduction targets, but also implement stakeholder-based actions that would create a long-term commitment and a shared responsibility when managing the water resource.
So I think we as consultants see the impacts of climate change in our everyday lives with the companies that we work with and their response to it, but we also see the legacy of not being environmentally as responsible as we should have in contaminated land. So we do spend a lot of time looking at how do we clean up those legacies and actually prepare either that land use or that watershed for or more sustainable use in the future.
How should a company begin their ESG journey? The key is benchmarking. You need to understand what's material to you as a business. Every business is different. They all have their influence in different areas. They can all make their impacts in a different area. Carbon footprinting is a measure of the impact of your greenhouse gases as a business. And greenhouse gases are at the heart of climate change. So it's a good place to start because you can set a benchmark, you can set targets, and you can try to deliver against those. To calculate a carbon footprint, you've got 3 scopes of emissions. Scope 1 is what you are directly responsible for as running your business. Scope 2 is the energy that you use, and Scope 3 has a much wider influence. And for many businesses, over 70% of their emissions are in Scope 3, which is their supply chain, their transportation, the raw materials that they use, the emissions of their employees commuting to and from the office, and gives you an opportunity to have an influence beyond your own direct operations.
My company is the Nordic partner for the Ixagen Alliance. Being part of the Ixagen Alliance allows us to take on bigger opportunities or bigger tasks. We work on all parts of the decarbonization journey. And with one of our clients, the global brand Absolute, We've been working with them for 20 years. We started by carbon footprinting their entire value chain in 2014, and since then have supported them in their work, both in-depth analyses of their raw materials and packaging, life cycle assessments, setting relevant targets and action plans, and we support them day to day really on this journey towards a more sustainable future.
So the ultimate mission of the Ixagen Alliance is to make the world a safer, cleaner, and more sustainable place. We want to be the consultants of choice, to partner with multinational organizations, governments, to really make good decisions on that sustainable journey. If we're going to meet those goals for 2050 of net zero, it's going to take all of us.
For me, working with ambitious clients and seeing change, that's really what's the most inspiring about being a consultant, when you see that they actually want to make a difference.
I know that if I am in need of technical expertise, I will have an Ixagen Alliance partner out there who will support me. We're all thriving towards a common goal, supporting our clients in the best possible way from anywhere in the world.
Not one business isn't going to change the world. It's about putting your efforts where you really can make a difference. And that's the point of benchmarking, and that's the point of materiality. Focus on what you have your most impacts on and where you can make the biggest difference.
Well, are we a family? We're a business? To be honest, we're all of those things. We are a business, and we have strong business values. We have good infrastructure in place to manage ourselves like a business. But I believe in the people that I work with. So in the sense that you would be committed to a family, you would carry them when they need it, help them out when they need it. Absolutely, absolutely. It's really a trusting